Because not everybody is always on the same page. And you might need to encourage me some days. And there might be some days that I need to encourage you. That's part of why we call this the family of God, isn't it? Because if all of us were down in the dumps at the same time, and all of us felt like there was no hope, well, that's called nihilism. And that's not a real viable worldview. Because nihilism says that you're alone, tomorrow will not be better, and you might as well chuck it all. Jesus comes in and says, no, 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 no. John 10:10 encapsulates Jesus' entire mission for his life and his ministry. It says, I have come to give you life, more and better life. The NIV says, a life to the full. There is a sense of hope that is attached when we come together and we bind our lives to Christ. The stories of hope sound like this from this trip. There were students that realized that they have been having conversations with people who don't know God at all, but recognize that that individual, that person, there's something different about them. There is something unusual about them, because the same things that I get frustrated and ticked off and want to just throw away. This person over here, I don't know if it's because they're connected to God or what it is, but there's something different about that person. These students that talk about these kind of conversations are getting phone calls from friends who don't know God at all. And they're saying, you know, I don't know even why I'm calling you. I don't know why I'm talking to you about this. But there's this thing in my life, there's this relationship that I need to fix. And I know that nobody else that we work with or that we go to school with has any answers. And yet I feel drawn to you. Realizing that God is placing in their paths conversations that point directly back to Jesus. And when people come to us with those kinds of questions, those kinds of difficulties, and say, I don't know what I'm going to do. I am contemplating suicide. I am thinking about running out on my family. I don't have any answers for what is going on, but I feel like I need to talk to you. Because of the broken mess that my life is right now. What they are essentially saying is that your life has radiated hope. And the hope that this world, our country, let's just talk about the United States. The hope of this country revolves around things like gas prices and the rise and fall of the stock market and who will be president come 2009. And when those things don't turn around, and those things don't match what we were hoping for, what we were praying for, what we thought will turn it all around, if there are just some things out here that will change, and those things don't happen, the hope goes right down the toilet with our dreams and our ideas. And instead, when people come to you and I, because we don't seem to be as affected by those things, what they are basically saying is, where do you get that kind of hope? Because I don't have it. There isn't any kind of hope like that that is attached to my life. Where do you get that kind of hope? There's faith, there's hope, and there's love. Why is love last, and why is love most important? Well, love is this inborn desire, this thing that is wired into us for unconditional acceptance. That's what love is. And we categorize love in all kinds of different places, and we talk about love. I love pizza. I love my car. That's not love. That might be infatuation. That might be like, but it's not love. Because love, in its purest form, is unconditional acceptance. Not acceptance of behavior, not winking at sin. It's simply saying, I love you in spite of the ways that you continue to mess up your lives. Because that is what Jesus says to us. Jesus doesn't say to us, doesn't come to us and say, all right, you and I can have a relationship, and I'll kind of ignore the stuff that you're kind of hiding back here in one of your closets. Right? Jesus says, kick open all the doors, we're cleaning everything in the house out. But Jesus has the right to say that. I'm not so sure that we do. Our job is to simply say, I love you in spite of the way that you are choosing to live your life. This showed up blatantly this past weekend. I did a wedding for a young lady that I had in youth in Maya. This is when you know that you are getting old in student ministry. When you start doing the weddings of kids that you had, yeah, not so good. So I did the wedding for this young lady, and And I talked to there were a couple other girls that were in the wedding that were also a part of the ceremony. And I talked to them, and I know that they are not living the kind of lives that we talked about in youth. That they're not living up to commitments that they made when they were in student ministry. And the thing that I was sure to say to them, and I didn't get judgmental with them at all. I didn't say, what you're going to go do tonight at the bar, what you did last night, I don't like that. I'm not real thrilled about that. I'm not real happy with you. I didn't say anything like that. We talked for about a half hour after the wedding was over. And I gave them a hug, and I said, I love you guys. Because I don't think that they hear that enough from the people that they are surrounding themselves with. I want them to know beyond anything else, anything that I have taught, anything that I have said to them, I want them to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I care about them. That unconditional acceptance, because it would have been really easy for me, knowing the kind of lives that they are living right now, to kind of brush them off, to not show a lot of interest. I walked right up to them and said, what's going on with you? I haven't seen you in a year. I haven't seen you in 6 months. What's going on? And the last thing I say to them, I love you. Because you matter. It's not that you just matter to me. Hopefully what happens is that they see the love that Christ continually offers them through the love, the unconditional acceptance that I show them.